Tonight on CBS 11 News, an East Texas woman is acquitted on capital murder and other charges related to the stoning deaths of her two sons. See what her future holds.
A new campaign to protect children will be on billboards this week. See how one woman's story changed state law.
Plus, see how NASCAR fans could hold the key votes in this year's presidential election.
And thoughts turn to nice weather. Well, it's not too early to be thinking about water safety. We're on the lake to help make sure your outing is a safe one.
Now, live with coverage you can count on, this is CBS 11 News.
Texas woman accused of stoning her two sons to death is found not guilty by reason of insanity. Good evening, everybody. I'm Suzanne Senna.
I'm Cliff Caldwell. Deanna Laney, however, is not a free woman tonight. Jurors in Tyler deliberated for 7 hours before returning their verdict on capital murder and other charges against Laney. CBS 11's Jay Gormley has the story.
Well, after an emotional morning of closing arguments, it took the jury 7 hours to reach its verdict.
We, the jury, unanimously and by a preponderance of the evidence, find the defendant, Deanna Laney, not guilty by reason of insanity.
39-year-old Deanna Laney couldn't hold back the tears as she heard the news her attorneys had been fighting for. The defense countered with evidence that Laney was insane at the time. Defense attorney Buck Files recalled the testimony of 4 psychiatrists, including the court-appointed doctor and the psychiatrist for the prosecution. All 4 testified that Laney did not know her actions were wrong because she was convinced that God had ordered her to kill. The defense also pointed to Laney's 911 call and her taped interview 6 days after the crime in which she showed no emotion.
Remember that voice, because it's not the voice of someone who knows she has done something wrong. It's the voice of someone who is so severely mentally ill, so diseased, so crazy that she has no idea.
The evidence of insanity in this case is not just that of a feather on a scale. It is overwhelming, it is uncontradicted, and it is the only explanation.
The prosecution failed to convince the jury that Deanna Laney deceived her family in order to kill her two sons. 8-year-old Joshua and 6-year-old Luke were stoned to death last May in the backyard of their home near Tyler.
Mommies don't kill their kids. I mean, this is an 8-year-old wondering what he's doing, looking up at her, killing him. And he struggles back, and let me tell you something. This boy right here paid for it. He paid for it. Because he got strike after strike after strike on his head.
Laney's youngest son, Aaron, survived the crushing blow after being left for dead in his crib. In the end, both sides say the trial took an emotional toll on everyone.
Yeah, I don't think anybody in this room or anybody in that courtroom was touched by the evidence in this case. You know, it's for the rest of my life, I'll remember Aaron, I'll remember Joshua, I'll remember Luke.
And living hell is a phrase which is sometimes overused, but I will tell you that she is in a living hell because of what she knows she did when she was delusional.
A not guilty by reason of insanity does not mean that Laney will go free. There will be a hearing within the next 30 days to determine how long and where she'll be committed to a mental hospital. Reporting from Tyler, Jay Gormley, CBS 11 News.
Funeral services were held today for Doris Ojeda. Hundreds of people attended the funeral at Santa Monica's Catholic Church in Dallas. The 41-year-old married into the family that owns the popular chain of Ojeda's Mexican restaurants. The mother of 2 was gunned down last Monday. She and her husband were walking their dog in their North Dallas neighborhood. Local businesses are offering $20,000 in rewards for information leading to an arrest in the case. And a body was recovered at Bear Lake today. Rescuers believe the man drowned. Police officers had seen the man standing in waist-deep water and called out to him, but he did go under. The man was alone at the lake, and tonight officials are trying to locate his next of kin.
Tonight, investigators in Spain are looking for a 4th terror suspect who may have died in a deadly explosion. 3 men suspected in the Madrid train bombings and a police officer were killed when the suspects allegedly set off a bomb during a police raid today. 11 others were hurt in the blast. Spain already has 15 people, many of them Moroccan, in custody in connection with last month's bombings. Tonight, Secretary of State Colin Powell says he may have presented faulty evidence to the United Nations about a key Iraqi weapons program. Powell's comments came on a trip back from Europe today. The secretary admitted evidence of mobile weapons labs he described to the United Nations more than a year ago appears inaccurate. Powell says he multi-sourced the claims, adding, if the various sources were wrong, the administration needs to know why. In 6 months of searching, no weapons of mass destruction have been found. Eliminating weapons of mass destruction from Iraq was the primary reason for going to war.
A University of Wisconsin student who claimed to have been abducted at knife point is reportedly at a psychiatric facility. Police are dismissing Audrey Sealer's claim that she was held against her will for 4 days. Officials say they have evidence she planned her own disappearance. Sealer's fake claims has one Georgetown, Texas father outraged. His daughter, Rachel Cook, has been missing for more than 2 years.
But this girl got everything, and then it turned out to be a lie. And it just... while she was abducted, there were at least 2 other abductions in the United States, and they got very little coverage.
Here in Texas, making a false report is a crime, a Class B misdemeanor.
Well, in politics, President Bush and Senator John Kerry took the race for the White House to the airwaves today. The pair battled it out over unemployment.
Our economy's momentum is building. People are finding jobs, and the nation's future is bright.
Today, in so many places, jobs are on the run. This administration just hasn't made creating new jobs or fighting for the ones we have a top priority.
Kerry says if he's elected, he'll create 10 million jobs over the next 4 years. Well, as the race for the White House heats up, both parties are courting a new group of voters.
Well, they're called the NASCAR dads. Presidential candidates are flocking to their events, and ads are being targeted at this particular group of voters. CBS 11's Beth Wagner joins us now live here in the studios with more. Beth?
Well, Suzanne, if you're looking for some of those NASCAR dads, you don't have to look very far this weekend. About 120,000 racing fans gathered at the Texas Motor Speedway today for the O'Reilly 300. Now, we spoke with many of those potential voters. Some are voting for Kerry, others undecided, but the Bush series seemed saturated with Bush supporters. Fans pile into the Texas Motor Speedway this weekend. And as the race heats up on the track, so does the race for the White House.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
President Bush made an appearance in Daytona in February, a political move to woo a new breed of voter.
NASCAR dads are the new voter population that the politicians are going after right now. We're the most powerful voting force right now that hasn't been captured yet.
A NASCAR dad is considered a socially conservative voter, economically struggling, and generally a white male.
It's a generalization. You know, not everybody that is a soccer mom votes for one person. Same thing with NASCAR dads, although 80% might, but doesn't mean everybody does.
But CBS 11's political analyst says Bush's tactics are working on the working class.
Seems to be very, very fond of George W. Bush. They find him energetic. They find him is one of them. You know, he's a guy's guy. They certainly like the fact that he landed on the carrier. He's shown up at NASCAR races in NASCAR jackets. You know, I mean, he knows the difference between a differential and a spark plug.
As the burgers cook, we took our own unofficial NASCAR poll, and it seems like Bush, so far, is taking the checkered flag.
Dale Earnhardt, he made NASCAR. George Bush made the presidency.
I will vote for John Kerry as of today.
Who are you going to vote for?
It's a good question. I'm waiting to see the candidates, let them, see their side, see what they're after, and, take it from there.
CBS 11's political analyst says courting special groups is nothing new. Clinton targeted the soccer moms. Now Bush with the NASCAR dads, and Kerry is trying to reach the veterans. Live in the studio, Beth Wagner, CBS 11 News.
And in November, we get to find out who won.
Yes, we do.
Well, it's a crime that often rips families apart. Next, see how one woman's struggle changed Texas law.
And what a beautiful day in North Texas, and a great time to brush up on water safety.
Well, so far, none of that rain that was promised has showed up. Just where is it? Well, we'll talk about that in a moment. Stay with us.
You're watching CBS 11 News, proud to be the fastest growing local news organization in North Texas. You're watching CBS 11 News, coverage you can count on.
3 babies have been violently shaken in Dallas County since January, and this week, children's advocates will be getting the word out. Billboards will start showing up all over the DFW area in a few days. CBS 11's Stephanie Lucero joins us now with more on a family of a little boy who survived this kind of abuse.
Well, Suzanne, the Child Abuse Prevention Center says 2 babies have died in Dallas County this year after having been violently shaken. A 3rd infant remains at Children's Medical Center. There will be a conference on this subject later this month, and for the first time, the target audience is men. Trey Smith was just 11 weeks when he was violently shaken. He is now 11 years old.
Trey was left with the wrong person. In the hands of the wrong person.
Trey's mother believes a certified child care provider injured her son, but that person was never prosecuted. He nearly died from his injuries. A priest gave him last rites. But Trey's a fighter, and 3 years ago he made several trips to Austin with his mother. Prior to 2001, the statute of limitations for injury to a child was only 3 years. Senate Bill 328, or Trey's Law, increased it to 10.
Yeah, but that is kind of cool when you hear it on TV that, you know, now we've got 10 years to prosecute this case. It's like, there's Trey.
According to child care advocates, young men represent the largest percentage of people who violently shake a baby. And that's why this year's awareness campaign will target men between the ages of 18 and 22. Dr. Mark Till says a baby's brain is very delicate.
You can have bruises both in the front and in the back as the brain kind of sloshes back and forth inside the skull. You can get a bruise where it hits the skull in the front and then a bruise where it hits in the back also.
Melanie Castor has addressed many groups on the subject, including inmates at men's prisons. She always brings the doll that is Trey's size when he was abused, wearing the same clothes Trey wore on that day. Now, the Child Abuse Prevention Center of Dallas is sponsoring the campaign and the seminar, but as of today, no men have signed up to participate. Live in Dallas, Stephanie Lucero, CBS 11 News.
Important information, Stephanie. Some Fort Worth ISD departments and community organizations came together today to help students. It's the 4th annual Keep Our Students in School conference. It was held at the Rosemont Middle School. Organizers say the conference had several goals.
To educate and inform, as well as to assist parents to find out all the resources available to them to help keep their children from dropping out so we can reduce and eliminate completely our dropout rate, as well as keep our truancy rate down.
A number of North Texas colleges and universities were at the conference, handing out information and assisting families interested in higher education. Well, it was definitely a higher day to get outside. The temperatures were nice, the sunshine was there, and with daylight savings time starting tomorrow, it's the kind of time to get outside and enjoy yourself.
Start thinking about summer. Now, for some, that means going to the lake for boating or fishing and swimming. Now, as CBS 11's Jim Walker shows us, it's also a very good time to start thinking about safety.
With temperatures in the mid-70s and a slight breeze, many found this the perfect day to head for Lake Lewisville.
The weather's gorgeous today. We were a little concerned that it was going to be rainy and everything else, but it's turned out to be just absolutely gorgeous today.
Perfect for the first day sailing or fishing.
I fish for black bass, but I've seen guys today fishing for crappie, fishing for sand bass.
But this first time out for many also means a good time to make sure everything's in order.
Did you check any of your batting tension before you raised this sail up? Yeah.
But not everyone is so careful.
Yeah.
Authorities say many people get stranded on their boats the first time out in the new season.
They didn't get it tuned up, the batteries are weak, you know, they didn't check the fuel, and they get out and the motor won't start, or it runs for a little while and then dies.
But boating experts say one of the single most important elements of safety may be one of the simplest. In fact, they say 85% of boating fatalities can be prevented by just putting on a life jacket.
Must, always. Even my daughter has a life vest on, always.
5 people died on Lake Lewisville in 2003. The Lewisville Fire Department even hands out free vests on occasion in hopes of saving lives.
We've never pulled out a drowning victim with a life jacket on.
And beyond life jackets, remember to review the laws. Even consider taking a boating safety class. At Lake Louisville, Jim Walker, CBS 11 News.
Yeah, getting on a lake sounds like a nice way to spend a day, doesn't it?
Oh, and it was a day for it.
Yeah, it was really nice. Just enough wind. If you had a catamaran or something out there, you right across that lake.
You know, I don't
Yeah, what
think
happened to the
anybody
rain?
would be mad at you
What
for
happened to
that
the rain? Well, I'll tell you what happened to the rain in a minute. Thank you very much. We have had some rain. Unfortunately, the folks up in Colorado haven't done quite as well. This is around Larimar, Colorado. That's close to Fort Collins. Wildfires up there burned 8,700 acres, destroyed a garage and a house. So far, no one's been injured, but it's wildfire season. Of course, you get these winds that this upper level low is supposed to bring the rain to us. Is still out in the southwest, and you get the winds and those fires really go through. But there's a little relief there, a little rain falling, and right now those firemen would take any opportunity to take any little help they could get from Mother Nature. We have fair skies tonight, 59 degrees, 35 is the dew point, very low humidity, 40%, north wind 7, 30-10, and the pressure is rising slightly. How did we do today? Well, it was a good day for the lake, sunshine, 77. NASCAR fans had a great time, 57 for a low this morning, 51 and 73 are normal temperatures, 30 and 95 are the records. Oh yes, in case you've forgotten, this is what happens at 2 o'clock. We are going to spring forward 1 hour. So before you go to bed tonight, just turn the clocks forward an hour. You're going to be late for church or whatever activity you have. Take care of it. What happened to the rain? There it is. It's just sitting out there, that upper level low spinning over Arizona. Lots of rain in New Mexico and some in West Texas, which needs it desperately. But it's just not going to get to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, at least for now. This high-pressure ridge has moved in, kind of pushed that rain off to the southwest, and just left us high and dry. 70 degrees in New Orleans, 39 Chicago, 37 Denver, 57 in Salt Lake, and 51 degrees.